The Lord of the Rings has always been my favorite book series, and the movies too. I've read all of the books, and I revisit all of the films yearly, basically, right? It's a world I never get tired of. I think Tolkien created the perfect medieval, mystical, magical universe that can be created. I think it is the feeling I get whenever I watch the movies is just incredible, right? Even The Hobbit, I think the first movie of The Hobbit is just as good as some of the Lord of the Rings movies, and I know I will get a lot of hate for that, but whenever I do a rewatch of the Lord of the Rings, I always watch The Hobbit first. I know that The Hobbit is like 5 times worse than Lord of the Rings, and a lot of people hate it, but I personally have always found it enjoyable. But that's beside the point. The point is that I love this universe. I've read the books. I'm deeply infatuated with it. So whenever they announced Tales of the Shire, a Lord of the Rings game, I was really excited because the Shire is my personal favorite part of Middle Earth. It is the part of the movies that I always find the most enjoyable. I personally, on my bucket list, is to visit the Shire in New Zealand. So when they announced that they would be making a game in the Shire that is all about the Shire and living as a hobbit, I was happy. I was incredibly happy that people were like, yes, I understand you, and we're about to make a game all about the Shire. Because that's my favorite part. I was happy, and I immediately went to Steam and I wishlisted, the Tales of the Shire video game. And I was awaiting, the first release. I was awaiting early access. I was awaiting everything, right? Slowly but surely, we got screenshots, we got, videos. And I was immediately disappointed whenever they announced the first images, the first videos of the game. I was very disappointed. And now, why would I be disappointed? Well, I was disappointed because it looked like a PS2 game. Yep, the game that I was so waiting. I wanted a game that I wanted the Shire to look exactly as it did in the movies, or at least have the same feeling, but it did not. It looked like Minecraft without shaders, and that is a big problem, because Minecraft without shaders, it looks okay, but shaders make it 10 times better. So if you want to know exactly how I feel towards this game, it is Minecraft without shaders. It needs a good shader pack to actually look great, because the promotional material, which is the artwork that they had, looked proper. It looked like exactly what I wanted it to be. But whenever they actually released, the game and how it would actually look like, I was very disappointed. So that's my first disappointment that, happened months ago. Was the actual look of the game. Now, the game was set to release a couple of months ago. I think it was even during winter, but then they delayed it towards the summer, which happened, which the release date was 3 days ago. Yeah, so basically I had to wait a little bit more. So I waited. I was, I was subscribed to all of the online accounts that they had, and I was excited. This game was on my wish list for quite a while, and 3 days ago, 2 days ago actually, it released. It released. The game was full on release, and guess what? It costs 30 euros. That's number one, which is fine if the game was something exceptional, but it still looks like a PS2 game. I was expecting the game, they delayed it for a long period of time. So I was expecting the game to get a visual overhaul, like a shader overhaul, and actually look like the Shire. But nope, it still looks like Minecraft without shaders. That's all right. If like graphics are pretty important, but they're not the most important thing in my opinion, right? So I was still hopeful. Whenever I saw the price tag of the game, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna buy it now. I will wait for some people to play to actually check out what the game is like in real life. So I watched Asmongold play the game. Yep, a lot of people dislike Asmongold, but he played the game fair and square. He just showcased the gameplay properly. This game that I was so excited for a long period of time, turns out it is a DEI cesspool. It is a game made for Karens. Now, why is that? Well, you start a game and you get a little nice cutscene of the Shire, which is, it's not too bad, right? And then we get Gandalf and his cart visiting, your character. And Gandalf looks like a woman, number one. He looks like a trans person, which is immediately a red flag for those of us who don't want political, messaging in video games. And that, that's the first thing you see. And then he walks, through the Shire as he always does with his cart. He sees a hobbit laying on a log, sleeping, and then we get he's like, "Yo, who's there?" And then as the hobbit wakes up, you get a character creator dialogue. You get to make your character. Now, the character creator, every good character creator has two options that are necessary for the character creator to work. And those options are male or female. Do you want to be a male character or do you want to be a female character? And this game doesn't have that. It has a body type selector. Yep, you heard me right. This game has a body type selector. Instead of a goddamn male female option, you get a body type select, and that's great. And even if you select the male body type, the character still looks like a goddamn woman. Yep, it still looks like a fat woman, not a thin woman. Nope. Fat woman, fat midget. And that's the first thing that you notice, and you can't make the character look like a male. So the character selector is basically, you have to look like a gay character or a woman. It's immediately noticeable. You can immediately spot it. The graphics also look really bad, and the dialogue options, the dialogue that you have, you don't even have voiceovers. Like, you have the text that, displays the dialogue, but you don't have an actual voice, which should be a thing that you could actually toggle on and off, because some people don't like it. But for a game that costs $30, you would expect to have a dialogue option, which this game doesn't. How nice. This is just wonderful, right? We get a game that looks crappy, that has horrible shaders, and it's just a DEI cesspool. This game is for Karens. That's what I will say. Like, I understand I'm not sugarcoating this. I'm immediately jumping into the deep end and just being like immediately straight up front, because that's just, I'm not gonna delay it. I'm not gonna jump around that fact, because that's just what it is. So the game doesn't look like Lord of the Rings at all. It looks like a completely different. It looks like The Sims. And this game is also lacking a lot of features. I watched some of the gameplay, and you can do things like enter the water. You can do things like, talk to people normally, only if the quest allows it. You can do a lot of things that you should be able to do. Right, so this game is just a very bad execution. They basically just slapped Lord of the Rings on there and thought that people would buy in. I mean, which, if you look on Steam, the reviews are mostly positive, but that's probably because the people who are willing to spend $30 on this game are, the exact audience that this game was looking for, which is Karens. Because no normal person would look at these screenshots and these videos and spend $30 or euros on this game and actually purchase it, because it looks so bad. If Tolkien saw this, Tolkien would spit on this and would be like, God damn, what have they done with my IP? So this game is just I was really excited for this game, right? I wanted to love it. I wanted to play it. If it had been like $10, I would have probably got it and tried it out, but as you can see, I have not. So I just watched the gameplay and the trailers and imagery and stuff like that, and made my own decisions, because like you can watch people play it and exactly what the type of game you're getting. One game that a game is good whenever you watch other people play that game, and that makes you want to play the game. That happened to me with Subnautica, for example, which is one of my favorite games. That happened to me with GTA 5. Just people playing a game, and you immediately want to play the game too. That's one of the best indicators that a game is good, and this game doesn't have it. You watch other people play and you're like, God damn, thank God I didn't spend $30 on this garbage, right? And this is coming from a person who wanted to love this game. I had this game wishlisted ever since it was announced. So they announced this game and I was immediately wishlisting it. So this is not coming from a person who hates Lord of the Rings or something, right? Lord of the Rings are my favorite movies. If you asked me to rank top 3 movies, top 3 books, on every one, like on the number 1 spot throughout the whole like books and movies thing, Lord of the Rings immediately. Like, my favorite book, Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring. My favorite movie, Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. That's just my like everything. Like it's just I wanted to love this. I wanted to love this so bad, but they just made such a mockery of the Lord of the Rings universe. I just can't stand it. Okay, I just can't. This is a game for Karens, for video game journalists, for people who don't actually like, who buy into this DEI nonsense. All right, this is not a faithful adaptation of the world. This is not a faithful game. It looks like garbage. From what I've seen, it plays like garbage too, and it is just bad across the. That is what I will say about this game. I haven't played it, I will be honest, but I have seen, other people play it, which is usually enough. Because I watched, people like Jacksepticeye play Subnautica, and I immediately wanted to play Subnautica myself. And you understand, like, that's like when a game is good, you watch other people play it, and you want to play it too. When a game is bad, you watch other people play it, and you don't want to play that game. So, yeah, so basically, this is the biggest disappointment of the year. I was really excited for this game. I was like, man, I want to, like, I was really excited. I was hoping they were going to make a good game. A faithful adaptation, because the Shire is my favorite, as I've said before, part of the Lord of the Rings universe. And whenever whenever this came out, I was just very disappointed. So yeah, so this is the disappointment of the year for me personally, because I was really excited for this thing, really excited, and it just flopped. It is just horrible. I no, thank you. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on this game. I was gonna play it. I was gonna, play it. I think the best kind of game to compare this to is a game called Tiny Glade. If you look at my channel, I have a lot of videos where I play Tiny Glade, and I even made the Shire in Tiny Glade. So if you want to see what I wanted Tales of the Shire to look like visually, I'll just search up Tiny Glade online, and that is exactly what I was expecting. I was expecting a Tiny Glade looking game with all of the functionality of the Hobbiton, right? Of what you can do as a hobbit. So yeah, so that's the biggest, this is the biggest disappointment of the year. And Tiny Glade is an indie game, right? It is an indie game, and it's much better than Tales of the Shire. In fact, I believe that the Tiny Glade is a better Lord of the Shire. Fuck, it is a better Tales of the Shire game than Tales of the Shire. All right, that is my opinion on this game. Don't buy it. Don't buy this garbage. Okay, just play some Tiny Glade, play some Minecraft, and install some Lord of the Rings mods for Minecraft. Play that instead of this garbage. All right, don't spend your money on this shit. All right, and yeah, hope you enjoyed. Live long and prosper. Goodbye.